Welcome to Coffee with Craig. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is where we talk about Second Amendment advocacy. We talk about firearms as it relates to culture, politics, movies, you name it. So please do us a favor. Take a quick second and like and share this video so that your friends can become our friends and we can all join in the conversation together. Today, we're going to be talking about the right to bear arms. We're going to be talking about concealed carry permits. Now, in many states, in many states here in the United States, you have things like constitutional carry, meaning, oh, by the way, we believe in the Constitution. You have the right to be able to carry a weapon. In some states, you have open carry. In some states, you have concealed carry, and it's shall issue. And in other states, you have concealed carry, and it's may issue. Well, state of California, it is may issue, and one of the things that happens is in the state of California, for example, here behind enemy lines, you have the ability, the local sheriff or police chief can issue concealed carry permits based on two different things. One is good cause, meaning you have to demonstrate that you have a good cause to carry a firearm, to be able to carry a firearm concealed. And the other is good moral character, which is generally decided by doing a background check, doing the interview, checking out, looking to investigate to make sure that, you're not someone who is either a criminal, prohibited, or dangerous. But in most cases, in many counties in California, there is absolutely no ability to be able to keep and bear arms or to be able to bear arms. In Los Angeles County, for example, and we talked about this last week, there are a total of 197 active permits. Of those, only 9 of them are to non-law enforcement related individuals. 9 out of 10 million people. 10 million people in Los Angeles County who are not related to or deal with law enforcement, meaning not judges, not ADAs or something along those lines. Only 9 outside of that group have concealed carry permits. No one else, obviously, in Los Angeles County has good cause. And in San Francisco County, it's even fewer. But even in counties where sheriffs have declared their support for the Second Amendment and the right to be able to keep and bear arms, it's not necessarily that easy. In fact, one story that came out a little more than a week ago is in Riverside County, where they actually have to wait almost 2 years in order to be able to get a concealed carry permit. Now, that's not to say that it takes that long to, once you begin. Well, let me take a step back. So what it means is that once you submit your paperwork, it takes that long to get an appointment to even be seen in order to go through that process. Now, a big part of it, the sheriff there says it's based on the budget. Judge, that's Sheriff Stan Sniff. He is saying basically that, they're having issues with their county board of supervisors, who every year is asking them to do more and more with less and less. And he's saying that this is a major budget issue. He says he's a supporter of the Second Amendment, and I don't know that I have a reason necessarily to disagree with him or to not believe him. In fact, here's an interview that he did back in 2014. This was after the Peruta decision dealing with concealed carry permit and shall issue in California. This is after we had won, but unfortunately before it went en banc and we lost. But anyway, check this out, and it'll give you an idea of what his perspective is on the right to keep and bear arms.
So what are you doing in the wake of the February decision, the Peruta decision? Are you starting to issue CCWs in a more permissive way? I know you said there's a stay, so we're not clear, but where are you going?
Well, each county and each city,
right,
every police chief in the state and each of the 58 sheriffs can issue carry concealed weapons permits for their jurisdiction. Riverside County, which is largely still a very rural area,
sure,
we operate quite a bit differently than the big urban areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco, or San Diego for
sure,
that matter. But we've actually liberalized that policy quite some time ago.
Pre-February.
So we will not issue to every single person, but for most law-abiding citizens in Riverside County, you can get a CCW. We do require them to articulate what the good cause is.
But arguably, you shouldn't be requiring that.
Well,
if this decision sticks.
If it stays. And our department, just like every other law enforcement agency, will comply with the court cases. They'll comply with the law.
So what tends to be cause?
Well, there's a variety of reasons. Anything that puts you over a risk of an average citizen in California. And in our case, we have probably 1,000, 1,100, a little over 1,100 permits out across Riverside County. And I'll tell you this, that no two of the good causes are the same.
Right.
So there are really a variety of reasons on it. Almost all of them eventually come down to self-defense or self-protection, but we simply don't accept just those words alone. We actually ask citizens to spell it out a little bit.
All right, so, I like the fact that it is more permissive. All right, at least it says more permissive. The only challenge I think I have overall with the policy is that I personally happen to think that self-defense ought to be enough. I think that ought to be good cause enough. The fact that you have to be in more danger than the average citizen in order to be able to exercise your right to bear arms, which, mind you, earlier in the interview, he notes that the reason why this is an issue is without open carry, there is no way to exercise your right to bear arms or to be able to have your firearm with you outside of your home in the state of California. With open carry gone, concealed carry is the only way in which an individual has a right to be able to exercise the right to bear arms. So therefore, I don't believe you need to be in any more danger than the average citizen in order to be able to exercise your constitutionally enumerated right. Now, with that, since then, we've seen the number of permits in Riverside County has more than doubled. It's upwards of around 3,000 permits. They probably get at any time, they have about 400 to 500 permits are being processed at any time, and it takes a while. And so because of now, I think largely it less has to do with the reasons offered than it does with budgetary constraints. Well, one of the things that I would like to encourage Sheriff Sniff to do is to take a look at a good friend of his or one of his colleagues to the north. That would be Sheriff Scott Jones. Now, Scott Jones, we had the same exact problem. They had a process where you go online and you sign up, and it was literally almost a year to a year and a half before you could even get an appointment. You literally, if I had gone on right now in order to set an appointment, it would have been somewhere in 2019 before I finally got an appointment to actually meet with and talk to, do my initial interview. You know, and by the way, and keep in mind, this is a sheriff who, during his tenure, there's been a dramatic increase. We're talking went anywhere from 300, I think it was about 350 concealed carry permits when he first took office in 2010. To now, we're up over 8,000 permits. I think it's like 8,400 permits in Sacramento County. He's processing them as fast as he possibly can. And one of the things that he did is number one, he does accept self-defense as a valid reason. And his perspective was this, especially during the economic downturn. He's like, look, I don't have the resources to have my sheriffs everywhere in the county. So if I can't be there, if I can't have my guys there that early, then you need to be able to defend yourself. People need to be in a position, if they've demonstrated that they are, that they're law-abiding, if they've demonstrated that they know how to utilize their firearm, they understand use of force law in the state of California in particular, then they ought to be able to be afforded the ability to exercise their right to bear arms. Now, everyone was coming down on him. And guess what he did? Hold on. I'll let you watch a story on him, on what's going on in Sacramento County, and then we'll chime in on the flip side.
Compared to the rest of California, your chance of getting a concealed weapons permit is greater in Sacramento County, where 8,493 permits have been issued since Scott Jones became sheriff 5 years ago.
A couple of policy changes.
Those policy changes include online registration, a new ID card with your picture on it, and up to 5 firearms allowed compared to just 3 previously.
It'll reduce the initial appointments that folks need to have with our detectives from 2 down to 1. And we're also going to change the protocol for renewals and modifications of the permits so they don't have to come in at all.
The sheriff says applying for permits online can eliminate 4,000 appointments each year for renewals, cutting work time and saving money. The system is designed to be more efficient, but gun control advocates are critical of the changes.
We're concerned because under this sheriff, there has been a great increase, a vast increase in the number of concealed weapons permits, and we really believe that what he's doing has made a mockery of our laws in California.
Jones has been a strong advocate for gun owners' rights, including carrying a concealed weapon. The permits cost $220 in Sacramento County, plus training fees, and not everyone can get one. There is a vigorous vetting process.
They're basically showing a demonstrated pattern of good behavior, so we look at everything from social media to criminal history to context with law enforcement.
See, so in other words, what they're doing is the gun control advocates, the people who don't want anybody to be able to defend themselves, they cried foul, including guys like Kevin McCarty, who's done everything possible to try and undermine the CCW process in Sacramento County. Everything from pushing forth an audit to trying to raise the fees, all of that. And what did he do? He put in a fast lane. Way to go, Sheriff Scott Jones. Sheriff Sniff, guess what you need to do? You need to watch that story. You need to contact your colleague from Northern California and find out how he's done what he's doing in order to speed up the process so that people have the ability to exercise their right to bear arms. It is amazing to me. I love to see it when people are standing up. And that's the one thing, I got to give Sheriff Jones, is that he has decided that, look, I know what the Constitution says. I know people have a right, and I'm going to stand up for the rights of my constituents. And that's what law enforcement is supposed to do. Law enforcement is supposed to enforce the law, and that includes the Constitution. And at times when members of the state legislature are trying to undermine our constitutional rights, he said, look, you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm going to do what it was that I swore to do when I put my hand on that Bible and I raised my other hand and I swore to uphold the Constitution of these United States. My constituents will be able to, as much as I can possibly help them to, exercise their right to keep and bear arms. My hat's off and cheers to Sheriff Scott Jones and Sheriff Sniff. Check it out, man. Look, it's already laid out for you, bruh. All you got to do is check it out. Get in there. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of the fight for civil rights. Please remember to like and share. Like and share our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our Twitter page. Let everybody know FPC is the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or we're going to lose them. Peace.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.